Hello, this is Mish from Downtime Distractions with a full review of a title called Underground Keeper. Now, as always, being open and honest, I received this review copy of this game for free, but that will not dictate how I approach this game in any way. So, Underground Keeper, it's a 3D puzzle game, heavily inspired from Minesweeper. Yes, I said Minesweeper. So if you remember Minesweeper and you enjoyed it, you might like this. If you hated Minesweeper, well then this probably isn't for you. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Minesweeper was a game added to the early versions of Windows OS. So that was where I first found it. But Minesweeper has been a game that's been buzzing around for generations, just in different formats. But the basic concept is you need to defuse or find the bombs without blowing yourself up. This is done by logically removing the blocks that you deem to be safe by whatever process you figure out. So this has been developed and published by Render Systems. This is coming out on the 15th of August at a price of $5.99 US, or your regional equivalent. It'll have a 25% discount as well upon launch. So the gameplay and mechanics, very simple. So it is in essence, as I mentioned, Minesweeper. So you'll need to blow up all the blocks with the bombs inside them. The only indication you get is by a numbering system that surrounds the blocks. So when you figured out how to, decipher that, it's a very simple premise. So you probably just rinse and repeat for how you figure that out, just to get the blocks down. So it has a slight twist on the original Minesweeper type games, which are normally kind of top-down, very simplistic little user interface games. So this has obviously the 3D component and a slight exploration mode to it as well. So there's a couple of hazards here and there, so a couple of pits you can fall into, and instead of seeing the entire map in one go, you have to work your way into the certain areas to be able to see the mines from other angles and other sides of the area. So the game features 60 levels, ranging from the basic to medium to the advanced. So before we get into summary, let's just have a quick look at the user interface and the graphics options within that. Let's look at the options menu. So this is all we have. So we've got resolution, maxes out at 1920 by 1080, and graphics quality. So very high, medium plus, medium, low, and very low. And we have a little FPS indicator here, which I guess will help you out trying to decipher which is for your machine. But very high for me, as this game doesn't take a lot to run it at all. So sound options here, we have the sound slider for the volume and one for the music, so good to have them on separate sliders. And we have mouse sensitivity as well. But we have no option to rebind any keys, which it's not a major issue for me personally, as there's only 3 inputs in this game. So there's left click, which is use your pickaxe, right click, which is plant the bomb, and E, which is a top-down view of the map. But still, many people like to configure those to different buttons, as some people might not use the mouse too much. They might want to use something else. So no option in here for that. So that's definitely a negative point. And it's always good to have more options than less in here. Instead of giving us this, break it down so we can choose. Certain people's machines might have an issue with a certain setting. Always good to break it down so they have the option in there. So let's move on to my thoughts on, a summary of graphics, audio, and the overall gameplay of the game. Okay, so let's break down the summary here. So is this game any good? Let's start with graphics. So graphically, it's a functional looking game. The animation of the pickaxe is not very good. The surroundings of the environment you're in, very banal and repetitive. If anything, it kind of feels a little rushed and unfinished visually. So if this product was going to early access, I wouldn't be so harsh. But for me at the moment, visually, it kind of feels lazy. I mean, example would be the edges often don't line up. So you kind of have one texture mashing against another one, and you can see the lines. Some maps have no ceilings. I mean, the ones which are fully underground are not too bad, but sometimes you're kind of underground, but you're not, and there is no ceiling, and you can see the hard edge of all the cubes, which is, a bit off-putting. It really takes you out of the immersion of the situation. It almost feels as if it's, a mod editor that's been edited by some map editor, and it's just been thrown together. So visually, not too good. I mean, it's all functional, it all works, but it just, doesn't look very good at all in my opinion. So the audio, very average audio. The music gets a bit repetitive, but I mean the sound assets are acceptable across the board. Nothing stands out amazing, and nothing is glaringly hideous either. So the gameplay, now this is where it gets a bit tricky, because the gameplay is actually very easy. There are 3 levels of difficulty, so you start with the first 20 levels are easy, then it goes to medium, and then hard at the end. But the thing is, as you progress, there's not a linear level of difficulty. It's more the levels just get bigger, and there's no other mechanics added to the environments, so it just becomes, I guess, it takes longer to do the puzzle than it did before. I mean, that is in essence what Minesweeper did as well, but it's just, it doesn't seem fun. And I admit, I was never the grand master of Minesweeper, but this game for me was almost no challenge at all. It felt like I was just going through the motions. It took me just over 3 hours to complete, and that was taking my time as well. But in this on one side, Minesweeper, it was never overly interesting anyway. Minesweeper was always a game that you kind of fire up if you don't have any games, or if you're bored and you just want to kill a couple minutes. It wasn't something where you think, oh, I'm going to have a game of Minesweeper. It's an excellent idea. So it's like, wow, you know, it might really scratch a certain niche market. The people that have some fascination with Minesweeper. But still, I don't think it's done much bringing it to that 3D format as they have. But I mean, I think they've really missed the boat with this one though. They could have added a couple more interesting gameplay mechanics to make the Minesweeper kind of the goal you're trying to achieve. So things like they could have added more hazards, maybe moving hazards, maybe even like a roaming patrol, so some robot that walks around and you have to make sure that you're not in visual range of the robot, and then you could do the task. Maybe traps, maybe even just, you know, even adding a timer on the levels. That would have added a lot of difficulty. But it's just not there. I mean, there's other things as well they could have done, or maybe even adding a certain limit of how many blocks you can destroy. But there's nothing. It's just, it is in essence Minesweeper with a couple of pits that you can fall into. So it's really tricky, really. I mean, I don't want to be too negative about the game because it's just a little indie company. But in all honesty, I can't really recommend this title. There's just no challenge. Whilst I see what they were trying to achieve here, I really think they under-delivered. If maybe for a Minesweeper fanatic, you might enjoy this, but in saying that, the level's too easy. It's too easy, so a Minesweeper fanatic is going to be very disappointed. So really, I mean, who's this game catered for? It might be okay for young children that want to play it, a little puzzle game, but why would they kind of choose this over something like Minecraft? So, yeah, I really can't recommend this game. Unfortunately, it's a bit disappointing because the premise is there. They kind of had the groundwork, but they just didn't go and put anything in there that really put a nice spin on it to really kind of hook you. So I shall leave this video here. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been a benefit for you. If you like this video, please check out the rest of the channel as we've got a lot of reviews there. Please subscribe as well, as it really helps us out. Obviously, thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Let me know your opinion below in the comment section. It really helps me out there. And it would also really help if you shared the video to your friends, as I'm just trying to get that exposure out on the channel, just to try and make it grow a bit quicker. So yeah, I'll leave it here and just say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, cheerio.